I'm John B. Tannen, stuntman. I've been a stuntman since 1998, but professionally for the last 40 years. And I took part in a great episode of London's Burning back in the early 2000s. I started at school. I was cast in a school play to do a little bit of fencing. I was fairly good at gymnastics, and my English teacher said, "Can you do a little bit of fencing?" I went, "Yeah." I think it was called Comedy of Errors. And then it interested me in stunt performers, so I read a book called Stunts and Daredevils. I did a school project. Once I left school, I got the normal jobs, but I was always interested in doing stunt work. And then I joined a touring team up in Newcastle. And I used to go from Doncaster, where I lived, up to Newcastle every weekend and do like a live touring show, which was fantastic. I started doing walk-on, extra work, small characters. And then I joined the American Adventure Theme Park, which was a live show from 1990. But then I started to train properly for the stunt register, got all the qualifications, as it was then, the Equity Stunt Register. And I qualified in November of 1998. So the rest is history. So what happens, we're in the stunt register, and whichever actors are doing stunts and they need a double, the stunt coordinator will look through the book for the perfect double and the perfect person with the right qualifications to do that, obviously the abilities to do it. Mine was to double for Danny Nussbaum. I actually looked like him in the 90s then. I'm a little bit older now, so I don't think I'll be able to double him now. So I got the call from Clive Curtis, a great stunt performer, and he said, "Can you come to London? You're going to be in a building that's on fire." That's all I knew. So I drove down to, I think it was Royal Arsenal West or Royal Arsenal East, with my sister's car at the time because I didn't have a car. And I turned up on set, and that was it. I even got a message by fax machine. That's how many years ago it is, to start the stunt office. I said, "You've got to be here for a certain time because we're going to rehearse during the day." And that's how I got the job. That's right. There was two parts to that day. During the daytime, we rehearse because there's a vehicle comes down the road and it causes the fire in the hotel. And it comes up to the hotel, tips over, the petrol ink goes down into the basement, and that's what causes the hotel fire. So we rehearsed that with stuntman, and it was Billy Riley Jr. was driving the car, or the van, and Valentino Mazzetti was in charge of the cars, and Clive Curtis was the coordinator during the day. There was other stunt people driving the cars, but we had a problem at the night time. When we went to shoot it first, there was a problem with the van. I think the drive shaft went on it, so it had to halt. Luckily, during the day, we knew what we were doing, so by night, the engineers had to fix the car before we actually filmed the stunt. So I was there for the first part of the stunt of the vehicle tipping over and the cars dashing out the way. And then we rehearsed during the daytime and the nighttime before we actually got to my bit. To rehearsed a dozen times. The technical side of that one was the actors had to run around the corner and stand still. There was two actors, and then we had to switch. We had to go by those two actors. They stand there. We run down the stairs, and the fire comes out. We run back up the stairs, and the actors take over and carry on. It's called a switch. We rehearsed it so many times. We must have done it 20 times just to get it out. We couldn't actually do the explosion on the day, until the day, should I say. So we rehearsed it, even during the day, running down the same staircase a good 20 times just to get the angle right, the camera, so the camera comes in, stops, we run down the stairs, the actor and the actress stay there, we do the bit, and then they run on. Gary the character, I think, was the actor, the character. But yeah, it was really interesting how to do that. I'd never done one of those before. I thought it was a case of run down the stairs, do the fire, come back. No, we had to sort of time it with the actors to sort of mask them and run back round, which is, I've done it a couple of times since then. I remember, I think I met Glenn Murphy outside, and he didn't know who I was. And I thought, because I used to watch London's Burning anyway. And I thought, it's Glenn Murphy. And he wasn't in costume at this point. We were all meeting up on the set and in makeup and costume. And then I saw the guys start getting the costumes. And I thought, I recognise that character and stuff like that. And then when we got on set, I was more concentrating on what I was doing. And I'd say hello to a few people, whether they were, support artists or caterers or real fire people, because there's a mixture of fire people on set as well as the actors and the coordinator. So you're listening to what you're doing. The director is directing the actors. Stunts are being directed by our coordinator, and that's how it works. Sometimes you get to chat to the actors, but we were mainly concentrating on our two pieces, what we had to do with the actors more than sort of talking to the main stars. But it was great. It was great fun. And for my first job on television, what an honour to do London's Burning. Yeah, lovely man. I remember the director on the day, and he always got the best from his actors. And with input with the director, they'll talk to the stunt coordinator, then they'll talk to the stunt artists. What is best for camera? Can we do this? How can we do that? Can we get the actors in a little bit closer? Is it too dangerous? So we do close runs, with stunt performers as well as the actors. So, they could sort of run down the stairs, but no fire, and run back. And then we'd run down and do a little bit of fire. And we'd see how it went. We had the burners on quite low. But on the actual stunt itself, it's a big explosion. I think it's one of the biggest ones they did, that hotel fire at that point. But it was a great opener for that particular year. So, yeah, you work closely with the director, you listen to what he wants, which goes down to the stunt coordinator, and then it's down to us to do the job. They say, you must do this, you must be in that place, and we do it. It's a shame, really. They were talking about writers and things, and I'd love to have met the writer and the creator. It's lovely to do these jobs and work on these film and TV shows, but it's always nice to see the people who created the characters or the scenarios, which I'd love to have done. But no, unfortunately, I didn't get to meet him. I was there all day. I got there early morning. I think I was there for about 7 o'clock. I knew we weren't filming till later on, but you always get there early just in case they move scheduling forward. Luckily, I was there to watch the rehearsals of the van stunt and help out, because that's what you do. Stunt people, we all muck in, we move stuff, we move crash mats, wires, we help, with the drive-in, make sure safety-wise, make sure the public are not on set or other actors. And it's mainly health and safety as well there. If you're not being used, but you can sort of, have your input. So I was watching the rehearsals. Like I said, unfortunately, they broke the drive shaft on it, so they had to go back and repair it, which was a bit of a pain, but the engineers are fantastic, with the coordinators and the mechanical engineers know stuff. I'm not very technically minded, me. I can fall off a building, I can ride a horse, I can sword fight, I can get blown up, but I'm not very good at mending vehicles. That's their department, that's stunt department. But yeah, I was there all day, so I watched what they were doing, and then we went into the building itself during the daytime and walked around all the steps, met the actors, had a little chat with them, because there's always briefings, safety briefings. Then you run through it, then you rehearse it, you do it at half speed, and then on the day, on the actual take, then you really go for it. So stunt work, it is an art form, but it's calculated risk, and that's what we're there for. If there's any dangerous bits, we're in, and that's what we're there for. I remember I was very excited, I was very nervous when I got the call, and then when I saw it come through on the fax machine, which also makes me smile now, I think I've still got the original fax somewhere. But I was just thinking, one of the biggest shows on television at the time, I get to do a stunt on it. And when I was on set, it was like all the caravans there on the street, all the trailers. And it was like, I'm thinking, wow, I'm actually on London's Burning. I did manage to acquire a T-shirt on the day. I can't remember how I got it. And one of those little yellow torches that the guys were. So I've donated that to our local fire museum. So it's still in there. And it was my memory of working on London's Burning on that particular day. So, yeah, so it's going to be kept forever in a case at the Fire Museum in Mansfield. So if anybody wants to see it, there it is. I'm sure it's online as well. But, yeah, I was very excited, very nervous to say it was only I think it was my second job, my very first job on proper television, and millions of people were watching it. I was very excited. I even got the video recorder ready and bought special tape, took the back off the tape, as we used to do, so you didn't record over them. And waited for it to come on. And every week I was waiting. And then my episode came on. And luckily, they kept all the bits in, which is good. Because sometimes your stunt's not kept in. But the main thing was we were on the titles at the end. And I saw my name on television for the very first time on a credit. I was very, very pleased. Right, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. I'll take you back a film before that. I was working on the Batman. I was luckily... got to be a resident in Batman, the Batman with Robert Pattinson, and look after people in the water in Gotham. And I got a little cameo role in that at the end. And through doing that job, I got the call to double for Tamora Morrison, who is Tom Curry, Aquaman's dad, in 2 or 3 different scenes. We were down at Leavesden Studios. The scene where he gets attacked by Black Manta in the lighthouse. the actual lighthouse fire itself, I did all the internal scenes for Tamora, and also there was scenes where I was carried down to a boat, which wasn't actually in the film. And we did the storm scenes as well. So there's several guises of me. But the main thing that they kept in was the big lighthouse fire, which was a brilliant thing to do. Enormous fire we did in the lighthouse. And the storm scene, which, again, in a big tank round at the back of Leavesden Studios, which was a great experience. And I can say now to my children, my grandchildren, that, Grandad was Aquaman's dad. And it'll go on, as they always say, the adage, pain is temporary, film is forever. So you always give it your best on a film. And it was just a great honour to work for DC twice. So, yeah, that's how I got the job on Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. So, at the moment, I am a radio presenter. So, I present our local station. I do the breakfast show, Mansfield 103.2. And then suddenly, I'll get a call to go on a film or a TV show, and I'll get another presenter to cover my breakfast show, and then I'll toddle off and do what I need to do for a couple of days. I don't do long spells on films or TV now, just a day or two. Last year, the privilege of working on Rebus, which was great. I played the old security guard in that, which has just been on. I got to double for Tom Courtenay, which is coming out soon, in called Queen at Sea. Now, Tom Courtenay's in his 80s, me nearly at 60, going to fall over for Tom Courtenay was a great honour. Absolutely fantastic. So now I'm getting older, you see. I get to go the old man roles because I ain't got no hair anymore now. So too many stunts landing on my head. I also got to double for the great actor called Donald Sumter in a thing called Entitled, a great comedy with Brett Gelman from Stranger Things. So that's coming out. And Firebrand, which is a great film. It's all about Henry VIII, the last days of Henry VIII. That's with Jude Law and Alicia Vikander. And I get to play a guard in that with a nice Tudor beard and the big hair and everything. So it's nice to have hair back again. Although it was, the Tudor period, but I've done it now. But yeah, if people want to Google me on, the IMDb, all my credits are on there, the Jackie Chan stuff and Maleficent and bits and bobs. But it's all there and all up and coming stuff anyway.